Hey guys, it is John C. Morley here, Sir Entrepreneur. It's great to be with you on Inspirations for Your Life. I know it is a little bit late this evening. Been a little crazy. I had my parents going back to the airport and lots of different things happening, so been a little bit nuts. And so I just want to welcome everyone to the show. And thank you for being here. All right. So, our master topic for the week is understanding personal evolution, Series 4, Show 20. And the granular topic for tonight is stand firm in your values despite criticism. And by the way, we are on Series 4, Show 20, Episode 3. And we have a lot to share with you today. And so we start with some interesting things. But before I do kick off the show, I'd like to invite you to go to the kitchen and grab something hot or cold, something for you to taste, such as water, beverage, or something else, whether it's hot or cold, whether it's some type of candy. And go ahead and do that and come on back. And so I think I encourage you to get something so this way you will definitely be not hungry. And I know I've been a little bit tired tonight. Sorry about that. Just been a little bit crazy, but I did want to get this show out tonight, guys. So let's dive right into the show, shall we? All right. So welcome to another episode of the Inspirations for Your Life podcast show. The show that goes beyond surface level motivation to help you rise into the most authentic, resilient version of yourself. I'm your host, John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, podcast host, and coach, and believer in the transformative power of truth. So definitely. And so it's important, ladies and gentlemen, that we do believe in ourselves. I think that's really important. In tonight's episode, I'm diving deep into a topic that demands courage and unshakable confidence, standing firm in your values despite the criticism. When the world pushes back, how do you stand tall? When opinions swirl like storms, what anchors you? This episode isn't about pleasing others. It's about living in the integrity and leading with principle and becoming the unshakable you that you know you are. Let's reclaim that voice right now, your power and your truth. And let's kick it off with number one, guys. Number one is, in a world that constantly chases trends, integrity over popularity. It's your compass. It means doing what's right even when no one's watching, especially when others don't agree. Popularity fades, but integrity is enduring. It's the foundation of self-respect and trust. When you make choices rooted in your deepest truth, you build a legacy that outlasts applause. True success isn't found in likes or follows. It's found in alignment between your values and your actions. So we need to be real, be consistent, and be you. I think that's something that a lot of people don't quite understand, but we're definitely going to share that. So let's talk about principles. Principles are non-negotiable. Your principles are your core. They're not meant to bend your pressure, but while being open-minded is valuable, compromising on your core beliefs in the name of fitting in or avoiding conflict weakens your identity. Think of principles as the structural beams of your personal character. When you honor them consistently, you build an inner stability that no amount of external pressure can shake. Knowing your lines, and don't be afraid to hold them. I think a lot of people do get scared. And so and I think that's something for a lot of people. but it's important to believe in. And you can do that. And you have to believe yourself. And so I think it's important to understand that. Does that make sense, everybody? I think it's important that we understand what our core is. All right. And also, number three, which is critics don't define your truth. Criticism can sting, but it doesn't speak for your soul. Everyone has an opinion, but not everyone has perspective. Critics may misunderstand your mission, question your choices, or mock your courage. That's okay. They don't need to get it. Your truth is valid because it's yours. Constructive feedback helps you grow, but toxic judgment only distracts. Listen selectively, filter intentionally, and never let someone else narrate your story. I think too many people in life basically want to have their story of their own. I think that's important. And so, strength is staying grounded. Number four, real strength isn't about domination, it's about stability. When life throws storms your way or opinions try to uproot your path, staying grounded in your values is an act of power. Grounded people don't sway with every breeze, they lean into their roots. How do you stay grounded? Reflection, self awareness, and intentional alignment. When you know who you are, nothing can knock you off your path for long. Number five, lead with conviction. Leadership isn't about strategy, it is truly about the soul, guys. When you lead with conviction, people will feel it. They trust it. Conviction means you believe in your path so deeply that others can't help but pay attention to it. It's the antidote to uncertainty, whether you're speaking to a crowd or walking a lonely road. The conviction in your values is your superpower. Lead not for applause, but to uplift, challenge, and inspire change. I think a lot of people don't realize like what that means or how that even plays. Does that make sense, right? And so growth comes through resistance. You won't grow where you're comfortable. I've said this before. We have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And comfort rarely builds character. Resistance is not your enemy, it's your training ground. Each time you're challenged for standing by your values, you're building endurance, clarity, and wisdom. Don't avoid hard conversations or critical moments. Lean into them. They redefine you, stretch you, and show you just how capable and committed you really are. Resistance isn't the obstacle, it's the path. Remember that, guys. It's not hard to believe this, and you can do this, guys. Number seven, values guide, not opinions. If you let opinions guide you, you'll be lost in the minutes. If you let values guide you, you'll always find direction. Okay. So opinions, you'll be lost, and values, you will find direction. Opinions are loud, fleeting, and often misinformed. Values are quiet, they're steady, and they're true. When you're unsure of what decision to make, don't ask what will people think. Ask what aligns with who I am. That shift in question can change the entire trajectory of your life. But I think a lot of people are scared, right? They don't know necessarily what to say. I think that's an important thing. Does that make sense, everybody? Does that make sense, everybody? And so staying rooted, not rattled. The world will try to rattle you. News, headlines, social media arguments, public criticisms. But when your foundation is firm, you may feel the tremor, but you won't fall. Being rooted means you've done the inner work. You've built your belief system, not from convenience, but from conviction. This is emotional resilience at its best. When storms rage, you don't react impulsively, you respond intentionally. Root yourself daily in practices that remind you of your truth. I think that's something that a lot of people don't get, is that they have to root it in their truth. Number 9, clarity over compromise. There's nothing wrong with flexibility, but compromising your truth for comfort leads to regret. Choose clarity, clear vision, clear intention, clear identity. When you're clear on who you are, decisions become simpler and interactions more powerful. Compromise clouds your essence, clarity reveals it. Get still, journal, meditate, ask the hard questions, and then act with bold, unapologetic clarity. That's where fulfillment begins. But I don't want you to think that it just happens like that, because it really doesn't just happen like that. Does that make sense? And so, respect earned through authenticity is important. People may admire charisma, but they respect authenticity. When you show up as your real self, flaws, strengths, and all others, you build credibility. Authenticity is magnetic. It's important to know that. It's vulnerable, yes, but it's also powerful. When others see you honoring your truth, despite pressures, they're inspired to do the same. Don't perform, don't pretend. Be real, and the right people will respect and follow your lead. I think that's hard for some people. Does that make sense, everybody? I know that can sound confusing. And maybe that might scare you, but don't be scared with that. You can do this. And so maybe you're wondering, right? But it's true. I know that a lot of you are probably saying to me, John, this is crazy. But incorporating these mindsets consistently can create a culture where integrity, resilience, and authenticity fuel lifelong growth and fulfillment. Whether you're a leader, a dreamer, or someone simply trying to live a meaningful life, this is your reminder to stand firm in who you are. Now, this is the part of the program, guys, and you know I've done this many, many times, where I'm going to share some personal stories, right? I'm going to share some personal stories. Basically, um, give you a personal story for each point, okay? And I'm hoping this will get it to mean something in your life. Because when we start to realize, okay, that this is important, that's when life can change for us. I think that's important. I think that's an important step. All right. Integrity plays a big role in that. But sometimes we get off of our pathway. Why? Because of the environment. Integrity over popularity. Back in my early entrepreneurial days, I had a chance to partner with a major client. The deal looked promising on paper, but their values didn't align with mine. They wanted shortcuts and shady practices, and I couldn't condone or really be part of that. So saying no cost me the contract, and some even said I was crazy for passing it up, but I slept well that night. Months later, that same company made headlines for unethical behavior. Walking away wasn't easy, but it reminded me that integrity builds long term trust, even if it costs short term applause. Number two, principles are non negotiable. They are non negotiable. That's very, very important, guys. They are non negotiable. And that might scare some people. Okay. But it's true. Years ago, a colleague tried to convince me to tweak some numbers to look better on a project for this specific proposal. Everyone does it, he said, but I couldn't do it. My principle was honesty and integrity. Even if the truth made me vulnerable, I held my ground and lost the opportunity, but gained something far more powerful, more meaningful: respect from people who mattered. One of those people later became a major investor of mine. Never trade principles for shortcuts. That's important. The right doors open when your foundation is solid. Critics don't define your truth. When I launched my first podcast, someone close to me mocked the idea. Who do you think you are, trying to inspire others? They scoffed at me. That comment stuck for a while, but I kept creating. Then one day a listener reached out saying an episode helped them through depression. Another one told me they got a job. In that moment, I realized critics may be loud, but they're not always right. My purpose wasn't to impress doubters, it was to reach those quietly needing hope. Your truth has value, whether others see it or not. See, strength is staying grounded. I think a lot of people don't understand that strength means to stay grounded. It's important. And I think it's important to know this, right? During one of the most chaotic seasons of my life, business challenges, personal loss, and non-stop demands, I felt like I was being pulled in every direction. But I made it a priority to journal every morning and take a walk in nature every evening. Those grounded rituals didn't make the chaos disappear, but they reminded me who was amidst it all. Strength isn't about avoiding storms, it's about staying rooted when they hit. And your roots are formed in stillness, not the noise. Number five, guys, lead with conviction. Lead with conviction. Early in my leadership journey, I proposed an idea that was met with silence and skepticism. I could have backed down, but something told me to trust my gut. I refined the plan, rallied a small group to test it, and results followed. Eventually, the same people who doubted it became supporters. Leading with conviction doesn't mean everyone agrees with you. It means you believe deeply enough to persist when they don't convict the right things. It creates the moment. And that's something a lot of people have a hard time understanding. Does that make sense, everybody? I hope it does. So, number seven, guys, values guide, not opinions. When I was choosing the theme for a community event, everyone had opinions, some supportive, some not. I was torn. I asked myself, what message aligns with other missions? And that question changed everything. I stopped polling and started leaning from principles. The event became one of our most successful yet because it was rooted in clarity, not consensus. People will always talk, but when you follow values over voices, you create an impact. I think that's something that is very, very important for a lot of people. And the next thing I want to talk about is staying rooted, not rattled. And so a while back, a public comment on one of my videos went viral for the wrong reasons. It was a harsh critic that misinterpreted what I'd said. My initial reaction was panic, but instead of deleting it or spiraling down, I visited my intentions. I knew the truth behind my message. I addressed it calmly, stood by my words, and let the dust settle. Staying rooted doesn't stop the wind, it helps you rise above it. Okay? Your foundation must come from within. But I think a lot of people get scared about that foundation. Okay? Does that make you a little bit nervous? And maybe you're lost on your path, right? Clarity over compromise. I was once invited to join a business partnership that looked lucrative, but something felt off. Vague terms, unclear goals, an energy that didn't align with who I was. I had to choose compromise and figure it out later, or walk away in pursuit of clarity. I chose clarity. Later, the venture unraveled due to inflighting and poor leadership. That moment taught me that blurry beginnings lead to murky outcomes. Clarity may take more time, but it saves you years in cleanup. I think it's important to understand. I think when we understand these things, we know that respect earned through authenticity is important. There was a time I thought I had to act a certain way to gain credibility. Suit up, speak perfectly, hide my quirks. But the more I performed, the more disconnected I felt. One day I showed up as me, fully unapologetic. I shared stories of failure, wins, doubts, and dreams. That's when people really begin to connect. Respect doesn't come from polishing your image, it comes from owning your truth. Authenticity creates loyalty that outlasts trends. Now, there's lots of platforms out there like TikTok and things like that. But what I want to tell you is that so many people on these platforms don't comment authentically. They try to do it for the wrong reasons. And I think that's a problem for a lot of people, right? How do you do something for the right reason? And that might sound like something really crazy. But the truth of the matter is, it's not. And if we understand that we can affect where we're going in life, okay? If we understand where we are going, then I think a lot can change. I mean, a lot can change. But I don't want you to think that just because you've had a hiccup means that you're going to be, in trouble, because you're not. I think it's important to know that most people want to act with integrity. Most people do. Some people don't, but most do. And if they do, then I think it's our business to realize that life can be different. Life can be different. And if I tell you that, I mean it from my heart in the sense that we're looking at things the way they are, but maybe not the way they should be right away. I think that's an important point. And so, I think it's important to understand what all this means. I think the fact of being someone who's full of integrity means a lot more to me than maybe it does to some people. Okay. If we can act with true integrity, then we can make a true difference in our life. If we act with integrity, right? If we act with integrity. And so maybe we're stumped by what's going on in our life. Maybe. And we don't necessarily know what to say or why something went down a different pathway. Okay. But it's important. And I think maybe you're wondering, like, what does all this mean? And I think this can get you a little bit scared because when you think about life and you think about the position you're in at the current moment, I think that can kind of scare some people. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense to you. If it doesn't, then maybe you need to look inward, figure out why things are different in your life. But if they don't lead back with integrity, that's a problem. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It's always a privilege, pleasure, and honor to be with you here on these amazing days, nights, and weekends on Inspiration for Your Life. Do check out BelieveMeAchieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations.